Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Wendell. Raptors lose tonight, 130 to 120. This is the Raptors Reaction Podcast. Um, that was an absolute abomination in the fourth quarter by the Raptors. In a game where, for the second consecutive game, the Raptors had a double-digit lead in the third quarter. This time, they actually held it to the fourth quarter. And get this, the Raptors lose the fourth quarter, 44 to 21. That was the fourth quarter. Raptors losing like that to the Orlando Magic. Raptors losing on national television, ESPN. Raptors got flexed onto ESPN. Raptors come into the season, ESPN said, I don't want any Raptor games. But you know what? They're playing well. You just beat OKC. Let me get the Raptors on ESPN. And this is what the Raptors do on ESPN. They get spanked harder than Marty Supreme at the end of the movie. And I hope that locker room right now is full of guys arguing with each other, because that's what I saw in the fourth quarter. Jamal Shed, CMB, failing to execute pick and roll defense on the most basic level, leaves their most dangerous three-point shooter in Desmond Bane wide open for three, knocks it down. They're yelling at each other. I hope they're in the locker room yelling at each other right now. I hope Scottie Barnes is in the locker room yelling at each other. I hope Brandon Ingram says, yo, how many points do you need from your guy? Because I joined the team. I score what? How many did Brandon have tonight? 30 how many? Looking like an all-star on ESPN. 35. I scored 35. That wasn't even enough. You know? I hope some of the guys are yelling at Darko. Yo, I played well and I don't even get in the game. Jacoby Walter, great in the first half. Barely saw him in the second half. Didn't see him in the fourth quarter. Mamu. It's a feast or famine thing with Mamu. Okay? Yes, he's had some nice games, but man, in some of these difficult games, where is he at? The confusion of where he is. RJ Barrett returns to the lineup. Doesn't look ready. Doesn't look healthy. Is this the showcase for a trade or something? Because he doesn't look healthy. And the effort and the execution has not been strong from him either. Although I'm not going to put this on him because he just doesn't look healthy to me, which is a concern because he's already missed time with two separate injuries. It's not like he hasn't sat out. He's been hurt. And then IQ. No, IQ gets all sensitive when everyone says, hey, how come you're playing better of late? And he'll snap back and say, I've been playing great all season. You know, I don't get into the up and down stuff. I'm sorry, but you are the most inconsistent starter on the team. And you saw tonight when the Magic turned into another level with their physicality, just like how in the third quarter when the New York Knicks turned it to another level of physicality, the game flipped, it was sudden, and it was over. And how many times have I come on the show post-game and I talked about this exact thing? Raptors can't handle physicality. And guess what? When the games get tougher, when the games get serious, when you're playing good opponents, when you get to the playoffs, if you get to the playoffs, because it's still not a guarantee, okay? All those situations, you are going to have to face this hurdle and you're going to have to cross over it. The intensity of Jalen Suggs pressuring the ball, getting down the court fast, and giving the Raptors a taste of their own medicine. It was the same thing against the Knicks, right? That was the same thing. OG, Mikal Bridges did it. You don't think Orlando was like, oh, we're down double digits to the Raptors. We're down 13 heading to the fourth quarter. We can't come back. No, they know exactly what it is. And credit to them. They had the leadership to turn it on, execute, and they played fantastic. That was probably the best offensive game I've ever seen from the Orlando Magic. They hit every three, knocked down the free throws, passed out of it, took care of the ball. Great stuff, especially in the second half. But on the Raptors side, couple things. Number one, the physicality. I'm not going to repeat myself over and over about this because I said this all season. And I said this in the loss to Charlotte. I said this in the loss to Boston, all three of them now. I said this to the losses over the New York Knicks. And I just saw it again tonight here in the loss to Orlando. A lot of those games were winnable. A lot of the Raptors games this season have been winnable. You can't tell me that you had a double-digit lead in the third quarter in back-to-back games and you choke it away in the exact same fashion. They're winnable. But until the Raptors solve that issue, you're not going to get over it. And I know people didn't like when they heard me be like, well, Will, why are you angry at them? Why would you say that Darko's letting them off the hook when after they lose by 25 at home to the Hornets, he says, oh, it was a great effort. No, it's not a great effort. It's a great effort if you fight. If you play and respond to that physicality, you hold your head and you actually play through it and you lose, whatever. That's going to happen. But what I see is other teams take it to another level, and the Raptors can't handle it. Sometimes they do it early. Really disciplined team like the Celtics, they do it early to the Raptors, and the Raptors can't handle it all game, and that's where they're chasing the whole time. And this time, you saw the Knicks roll in second half of back-to-back. Jalen Brunson's sick, got other injuries. They roll you at home, and then you go on ESPN, and everybody's talking about how great the Raptors are this season. Well, they're gonna have 2 All-Stars. I mean, they couldn't even beat the Magic, right? So that's the physicality point. I'm not going to repeat myself over and over again on this because I've already done this a million times. The other point, and if you lose 44-21 in the fourth quarter, first off, you should be yelled at, okay? Darko yelling at the referee, picking up a technical foul over a travel. Please, save some of that energy for your own team. Yell at your own team, okay? Hold them accountable. We can't just be, when we lose, hey, second year of a rebuild. When we win, fantastic, here's the chain. No. Take yourself seriously. Hold yourself to the standard. Hold the team to the standard that they've set for themselves this year. And for once, come out and say that this was unacceptable by the team. Because it is. Okay? Don't insult everyone's intelligence by saying, 44-21 in the fourth quarter, or we're just a second year rebuilding team. Okay? Hold the team accountable. But this is the thing. You lose 44-21 in the fourth quarter. My question to you is, where was the leadership? Where was the leadership in this game? I'm serious. No, I'm serious. Game got difficult. Raptors had multiple timeouts. They called them. Coming out the timeouts. Who's taking control of this game? Who's single-handedly stopping the opposing team's player? Who's rising and taking the level of physicality, and who's taking the level of intensity beyond them? Because that's what competition is. Right? Not saying who wants it more, but at a certain point, X's and O's this game wasn't about X's and O's. You think it was X's and O's, the way Jalen Suggs was diving on the floor, keeping the ball still alive, and then dishing it off to a guy dunking at the rim? That's not X's and O's. That's a guy's taking it to that level competitively. Now, you got to match that, and then you got to get over that. Where was that leadership tonight? I didn't see that much from Brandon Ingram, despite the 35 points. And what disappointed me more is I didn't see that much from Scottie Barnes in the fourth quarter. Third quarter, I saw good stuff. Brandon started that third quarter well. Raptors, blew a 10-point lead in that stretch as well. However, Scottie checks back in the game, makes a bunch of plays. Raptors are up with a 19-6 run to end the third quarter, right? That's all good stuff. Raptors are up 13 going in the fourth quarter. Now they get caught off guard. Orlando punches back, and they battle back and retake the lead. This is what I mean by leadership, though. Did Brandon Ingram come in with 3 straight baskets? Stop the run, control the game, silence the crowd. Yeah, he had a couple jumpers. That's true. But that wasn't that sustained level of I'm going to get the ball time and time again. Chill out. I got this. Stop the run, right? You might say the offense didn't give him the ball enough. Fair. But to be honest, that's also on him. Demand it. This is your team. You're the closer. The bases are loaded. I got to bring you in the 8th inning, and you got to get through it. Then you got to give me 3 more outs to secure the win. I didn't see that. I didn't say, hey, give me the ball. I didn't see enough of that. Because you know what? If I was running the Raptors, Brandon Ingram, come get the ball. Brandon Ingram, I can't get a point guard to bring the ball up to you. Brandon, you got to handle. You dribble up the floor. And it's got to be you. Because some of these other guys are going to get shook. Because IQ sees somebody stunting at the nail, and he's going to turn back and dribble out. And RJ Barrett is going to be inconsistent because he's coming off of injury. And then the other part that's disappointing to me is we could talk about how great Scottie Barnes is. Scottie Barnes has a huge impact on this game. Up until the fourth quarter, he was great, genuinely great. But in the fourth quarter, that next level of being able to take over the game and control it is huge. It is very big. And I saw a player that had no control over how the Raptors were performing offensively. And I think more disappointingly, especially for a player that should be in legitimate Defensive Player of the Year considerations, who had 4 blocks tonight, was making several big blocks in the third quarter in addition to the rest of the game, was playing great. But also did not have the ability to dictate the game on the defensive end. And I know, I'm asking for superhuman shit. I'm asking for Superman to come out the door, whether that's Scottie, whether that's, Brandon, whether that's both of them. Could be a Batman or Robin situation. That'd be ideal, right? But I saw neither of those things. And that's how this fourth quarter steamrolled and got downhill. Orlando kept running off of Raptors makes or misses. Raptors kept stumbling. Raptors saw a zone for 2 possessions at the start of the fourth quarter. Darko was like, I gotta call timeout. I can't cope with this. I can't expect my guys to cope with this. Why not? You've seen zone for the entire 2 last weeks, right? I thought we were over this. I thought we did a great job of solving the zone on the road trips. But you know what? Orlando went to zone twice. I gotta call timeout. I gotta call timeout. And they come back in. Guess what? Orlando says, psych, we're not actually gonna play zone the rest of the time. We're gonna play man. And we're gonna go alternate man and zone. How are you gonna handle that? Raptors look like they needed a figure, like they needed 15 seconds to figure out what the defense even was each time. Of course you're not going to score in that kind of instance. But again, the leadership of that team was missing tonight. And down the stretch, the hierarchy offensively, where were we going? RJ got to play here. Then it's IQ got to play here. And then we come out of the timeout, driving kick to Mamu in the corner for 3. This guy hasn't even done much in the whole game. Mamu should be shooting the wide open 3. But, that wasn't wide open. That was early in the clock. And first play of the timeout, you're going to Mamu for a corner 3? Contested? That doesn't make sense. Where's the hierarchy on this team? Because when you have organization, when you have an actual plan, and you actually have the trust in that plan, even when things aren't going well, that's how you stop the bleeding. You can't just go 44-21 in the fourth quarter. That shows to me you were disorganized as a unit. And other guys started taking control. How many possessions started with IQ and RJ? Why? I thought your best players are Scottie and Brandon. We send our guys to the All-Star game. How about we send our guys into the offense? And that's where, for Darko, coming out of the timeouts, what did Darko try tonight in the fourth quarter? C and B get in there. No. Mamu get in there. No. Shed get in there. Maybe Shed and IQ get in there together. Maybe, do we have a plan or not? Orlando? Here's our 5 best players. We're rolling them out. They're our starters. Jalen Suggs, Anthony Black, Desmond Bane, Paolo Banchero, Wendell Carter Jr. They're gonna play together. They're gonna run pick and rolls. Hey, guess what? Novel concept. They're gonna involve their best player. Paolo Banchero are gonna come into the screen, into the pick and roll over and over again. How did Orlando score so well? Well, they got Paolo Banchero on the pick and roll over and over again. The Raptors struggled to get around these screens, right? That meant that they were either open at the top with their guards, and Bane was hitting, Suggs was hitting, Black was hitting, or they're slipping the ball in behind to Banchero going to the basket, and the Raptors couldn't really stop him there. And when they did stop him there, the extra pass was there from Wendell Carter, who was dunking the ball. Okay? They had an organization, they had a plan, 5 guys, go out there, close the game, and again, 44-21. Celebration on ESPN, post-game walk-off interview, everything's all good in Orlando again. But for the Raptors, where was that organization? I'm sorry, they were you go 5-6 plays in a row, you don't see Scottie and Brandon touch the ball. And you might all say, Will, chill. It's January. What are you talking about? Raptors are what? 29-22? That's not so bad. It's okay. We can just rest on our laurels. Yeah, until when? Until the next time we play a tough opponent on national TV and this problem curbs itself? I hate not looking at the problem in the eye. You're a professional sporting team. You have all the amenities available to you. You have practice time. You have every coach imaginable. You can get an extra shots, whatever you need. Best medical staff, everything, right? Well, I don't understand just looking away. You're either a serious team or you aren't. And the Raptors have been a serious team this year. They've shown promising, encouraging signs. Their 2 stars have played really well over the course of the season. They've stayed healthy. Their role players are coming up and down a little bit, but obviously for the most part, they've been able to deliver. Some of the young guys off the bench have had good moments, but they have not learned how to win these tough games, especially as the favorites too. And that's the part that's different, because playing ahead is not the same as playing from behind. Playing from behind plays a little bit into the Raptors, skill set in terms of what they do well. They do a great job pressuring the ball, forcing turnovers, play on transition, scoring quickly in those situations. That's how they beat Orlando last time. Raptors were much more shorthanded against Orlando last time, but managed to really shut them down defensively, forced a bunch of turnovers, and the Raptors won that game with defense. The night before that game against Orlando, they beat the Golden State Warriors. Same deal. They were down double digits. Raptors started pressuring the ball, forcing a bunch of turnovers, forced OT, and then they run them over in overtime. Raptors were the Magic in this scenario, right? They were the ones looking triumphant in crunch time. And you might say, well, Will, why aren't the Raptors? I thought the Raptors are good in crunch time. What are you talking about? Depends which direction you're coming from. Because for the Raptors, protecting a lead, they start to forget what makes them go in the lead in the first place. It isn't my turn, your turn, slow it down, get one bad shot, and then not get back in transition. No, what builds Raptors leads is the same thing every time. They get stops and they play on the fast break. Raptors got so many fast break points in the first 3 quarters, and a lot of that was off their defense. The Raptors were sprinting, they were running, they were playing great. Fourth quarter comes around, let me slow down. Let me protect this 13-point lead. You got to run out the clock with 12 minutes left in the game? Because that's what this is going to look like. Raptors start to lose their identity when they're trying to protect the lead. And that is another thing for this team to solve. And having said all this, and you might say, why is this episode so stern? Will, why do you yell at the team every time they lose? You know how easy it is to come on here and say everything's okay? You know how easy it is to come on here and be like, yo, here's a picture of the chain. Wow, look at these guys. You know what I mean? Like, I'm proud of them. I am. You can tell that I'm genuine about that, right? That's easy. What's hard in life is actually figuring out the problem you have, especially when you're doing well and you can afford to lose a couple of games, and solve them. Because the last thing you want is for this to be ignored, for this to not feel like a problem, for this to not sit and fester within you, and then to have it burst out in a more important moment. And that's what's going to happen. Raptors are going to have a nice year. We're all going to be proud of the progress. We can always argue, hey, despite everything, Raptors made a lot of good progress this year. That's fine. That's all good. But you got to solve your problem, man. The leadership of this team needed to be very clear. I don't care if we have Brandon Ingram have touched the ball 10 straight times and he misses 8 of them and therefore we lose the game because he shot 2 of 10. I'm fine with that. You know why? Because that's the plan. The plan is we play through our leaders. I'm fine if they give the ball to Scottie and he's involved and the Magic stop it and Scottie's unable to score or Scottie's kicking it out and guys aren't able to hit or whatever. That's fine to me because I'm like, you know what? That's how they should play. And that's the strategy. What I saw in the fourth quarter, I don't know. I don't know. Like if you were watching the Raptors for the first time and a lot of people in America probably were tuned on the fourth, they're like, oh wow, close fourth quarter. Let me turn on the TV. You think an average like sports fan turning on and seeing the fourth quarter could tell you who the Raptors closer is? Like what the strategy is? They can't. Because they lost their heads. And it's the same thing every time. The physicality, the leadership, the organization, and the last thing, I mean, you can't really talk around this too much, but the 3-point shooting is abysmal. It should not be possible to lose to the Orlando Magic, who are an objectively bad 3-point shooting team. Okay? It should not be possible to be outscored by 30 points at the 3-point line to the Orlando Magic. Raptors shot 7 of 28 from 3 tonight. That includes Brandon Ingram hitting 4 threes, which means the rest of the entire Raptors team hit 3 threes. The starting lineup, Scottie Barnes, 0 for 3. What happened to the 3 that started the season? We were all talking about, the team was more than happy to talk about, wow, we got him a biomechanist and Jama worked with them and Scottie put in a lot of work into that shot. He's been shooting like 20% from 3 for like 2 months. If that. CMB tonight, not even looking at the basket. Now, forget threes. He's not even looking at dunks. RJ Barrett, 0 of 5 from 3. IQ, 2 of 6 from 3. Jamal Shed, 0 for 1. Sandro, 0 for 3. Jacoby hit 1. Grady Dick missed 1. That's it for the whole game. First off, 2 issues. Number 1, making only 7 threes. You're going to lose, okay? You're just going to lose. I'm sorry. But modern NBA math, you're just not going to win making 7 threes. The other part, modern NBA math, how do you only take 28 threes? Seriously. You know, teams want to zone you. One way you beat the zone is with the 3. Raptors saw a zone and they freaked out. Literally freaked out. Darko, called timeout, put Scottie and Brandon back into the game and CMB and said, Scarters, go ride it out, right? That's how much they freaked out just seeing 2 possessions of zone because they know they can't hit a 3. I don't even know what to say about the 3-point shooting. You need your 3-point specialists, which on this team should be IQ and Grady Dick, to be a consistent factor on that front. They haven't been. Mamu should have been picking and popping all game from 3, not attacking Orlando's cramped defense. Didn't really happen much. Didn't take great threes, in my opinion. RJ Barrett coming off of injury, he needed to make them. Didn't make them tonight. Those are the breaks. You know what? My only thing is, if the threes aren't going to drop, maybe don't also go beef with Desmond Bane and poke the bear. Because Desmond Bane had 35, including, I think he single-handedly outscored the Raptors in the fourth quarter at a certain stretch. Don't go back and forth with him. Because if you can't match the threes, then what are we really talking about? Words? And then IQ. It was a tough night for IQ because he got flagrant foul. Desmond Bane literally threw him to the ground in the second quarter. Ochai, who saw the floor for 3 minutes exactly, stepped to him, picked up a technical foul. Somehow, after a steal and a fast break, the Raptors lost a point on the play. And you might ask, how's that possible? Well, first off, Desmond Bane stops the fast break by throwing IQ to the ground. Now, that's a flagrant foul, and they reviewed it, and it was a flagrant foul. That means you get 2 shots on the ball. IQ, who's shooting well above 80% from the foul line, goes on to miss both. On the other end, because Ochai stepped to Desmond Bane, that's a technical foul on Ochai. But you might say, well, a tech for a flagrant, 1 free throw for 2 free throws, that should be fine. Bane makes the free throw, no problem. Going the other way, IQ misses both free throws. Raptors then missed a shot on the ensuing play. Those are big swings. Those are really, really big swings. So, I'm not saying the Raptors didn't have good stretches of play tonight. The third quarter was genuinely fantastic. Scottie certainly had lots of great moments in that stretch. Brandon was scoring and hooping. There's some nice interior passing. When the game's easy and when the game's open, when the game's flowing, the Raptors look good. But when the games get difficult, man, the Raptors have tucked their tails behind their legs and told teams, yes, our record is good, but we're not there yet. And until they actually solve these problems, we're going to see the same things happen over and over again. And I'm sorry if it sounds abrasive coming from me. I'm sorry that, honestly, at one point I threw something at the TV tonight just because I was so pissed at the lack of communication on defense tonight. And I honestly, and that's just me watching at home. I hope some things were thrown in the locker room after the game. You know what? We can rest on our laurels with the 29 wins all we want. We're a young team all we want. We are whatever we are if we take that seriously. We are who we say we are if we take it seriously. Do we hold ourselves to the ability of a young team, or do we hold ourselves to the standard of being a good team? Because we can't hide behind that young team shit forever, man. Decide to be good. You can be good. And the Raptors should have been good tonight, and they didn't. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. Take your questions.
This segment is brought to you by Table Fare and Social. Get your pregame bites and after-work drinks at Table.
It's a great location, right across the street from the arena and just steps away from Union Station and the Metrolinx bus terminal.
Will, I love my wedge salad, but there's plenty of options at Table. What should we have next?
Oh, we could have salad for days, my friend.
Oh, you're talking about salad days? I love salad days, man. They got a different salad for every day of the week. You can never get tired of the options there.
Oh yeah, I heard about this place. This was your go-to lunch spot forever. You always said the lettuce was so crispy.
Man, it's so crispy and fresh, and now this can be your go-to meal before Raptors games.
I like that. Grab a pregame salad at Table Fare and Social right across from the arena.
Okay, let's take your questions. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let's just get to the questions, man. First one. The issue is that they have good wins, but they also have really bad losses. Okay. You know what? That's not really an issue. I mean, that's just a sign of how things are going to be up and down. I think the issue for me is that the good wins don't have a consistent pattern because they've had good comeback wins, they have good execution wins, They've had good road wins. They have had good clutch wins. Those are all fine. What bothers me is pretty much like we've seen this loss so many times. It's always the same pattern. This team can't handle physicality. It's a horrible, horrible thing going into a potential playoff run, is that the team can't handle straight up physicality. I'm sorry. Yeah. Let's give the Cold players more minutes. Well, this is actually, I had the opposite thought tonight when I was watching this game. So the Raptors ran a 10-man rotation tonight. They effectively cut Ochai. I mean, Ochai only played 3 minutes, literally didn't make a single impact other than stepping to Desmond Bane for a tech. So, there's that. And then Gritty Dick played 7 minutes in the first half, didn't even see time in the second half. Way to kill the guy's confidence, right? That means they essentially played an 8-man rotation tonight. I understand that RJ came back. This was a tight game. They needed more. All these things are true, but I don't know. It's tough. I mean, I would. Last year it was great to be a developing player on the Raptors. This year it is very hard to be a developing player on the Raptors. Like, CMB has rolled with it, and a lot of that is because Yak's been out, so CMB's got a ton of minutes. But Jacoby, Grady, honestly, the sad part is whether they play well or not, they probably just won't play. Like, Jacoby played a great first half, ends up playing 15 minutes tonight. I don't know. Maybe this team needs a consolidation trade. Because it didn't really feel like all the guys fit in. I mean, especially in the first half, it was like RJ and IQ. Then it was Jamal and IQ. Then it was Jamal and Grady, or Jacoby. Then it was Jamal, Jacoby, and Grady. Then it was RJ and IQ again. Especially in the backcourt, cycling through that many players, I mean, it was tough, man. What are we getting here? The next question here is, Darko is getting crazy defense out of this team. It was a bad game. Don't love all the personnel tonight, but that happens. Okay, I will agree with you that the Raptors have certainly had good moments of defense, and that a small ball team and their ability to, well, not today. Today's a bad example of them being able to switch, but they have, generally speaking, had a really good defense, especially if you look at the overall season. I mean, the last time I checked, they were 4th on defensive rating, right? Tonight they had lots of good moments of defense, but this is one of the other metrics of defense is, can you get a stop when you need to get a stop? How many times out of the timeouts the Raptors need to get a bucket and need to get a stop and get the game back in their favor and to stop the bleeding? And the last game against the Knicks as well. I haven't seen that focus tonight. The fourth quarter, they couldn't figure out a simple pick and roll. Like, literally every time Orlando ran a pick and roll, it was over. And the Raptors were giving up something. That shouldn't be the case. Next question. If you have a 13-point lead heading into the fourth quarter and you allow 40 points and have no answer, no focus, that's on the coach. Well, Darko called what? 3 timeouts in the fourth quarter, maybe even 4. Called one early, got his starters back in, played his guys hard, tried different lineups. Didn't work. And again, fundamentally, did you get the ball into your best scorer's hands in Brandon Ingram? Did you get the ball in your most impactful player's hands in Scottie Barnes? How many plays got to be set up by RJ and IQ? Like, all due respect, but like, there's got to be other ways. There just has to be other ways. And the way he couldn't decide whether it was CMB should have been in the game for defense or Mamu should have been in the game for offense, just really allowed nobody to thrive in that fourth quarter system. Another question here. Darko is a good developmental coach, and that's all, man. Look, no matter what, I'm willing to give him the year to evaluate, and I think he's deserved an extension off of this. So I think, and I believe, honestly, even for coaches, you can get better. Especially getting better with the current personnel that you have, right? I think a coach grows along with the team as well. Because I've seen it happen. Like, saw Nick do that, for example, with the Raptors. I think for Darko, the hard part for him is proving that he can win with this group, and not just win as in set a good formula, set a good culture, and you kind of like, you do that, and it's not nothing. It's a very big thing. But you do that, you set a good system in place, you end up winning a lot of games just by being like a responsible team, and you set good habits. Again, those are all wins by the coaching staff. But then we're talking about the next level, like little minute details winning games like that. Small things tonight. Didn't use the challenge, right? Totally a tool in the toolbox. Didn't use the challenge. Finding the right lineups, again, finding different ways to play. I mean, again, I can't stress this enough. Orlando went to the zone, like to the first play out of the fourth quarter, and then ran it a second time, and Darko legit had to call timeout to put his stars back in. It's like a timeout 1 and a minute 30 into the fourth quarter it's not great. Bench was not utilized. Starters look dead tired. Yeah, but again, like they panicked. They panicked in this game. They really did panic a little bit in this game. Between the Knicks, Magic, Pistons, Celtics, Cavs, Sixers, who can you say the Raptors would beat confidently in a series? Because I say none, to be honest. Raptors have no second gear. Okay, obviously this is a tough time to say this, but I do think the Raptors match up very well with Orlando. Tonight, notwithstanding, Orlando, if they hit, 17 of 34 threes, and they also shoot 33 of 37 from the foul line, they're going to beat most teams in the NBA. So I credit Orlando for a really good game played. Desmond Bane running down the floor, just pulling for three. Jalen Suggs giving them that spark. That's exactly what his job is. Paolo Banchero looked super efficient tonight, rolling to the basket, playing great. I mean, he scored 20 points on 11 shots, mostly at the basket. Really good stuff, Wendell Carter actually low-key killed the Raptors too. 23 points, 7 rebounds, 9 of 14 shooting. Knocked down 2 threes as well. Like, you get all this, that's fine. But we know this is not what the typical Magic game is. And we know they have this gear. But I do think that Raptors play the Magic. Probably go 6-7 games. But I do think the Raptors actually can win that series. Cavs, I would argue they don't really have a great next gear. I know they're getting healthier and they're putting together a bit of a run, but basically the Cavs are the Cavs, right? Like the Cavs are, Donovan Mitchell's got to score 30, probably 35. And if he doesn't, then they don't win. I can live with that because they also fold to physicality. I've seen them in the playoffs many times fold to physicality, but the Knicks, the Pistons, the Celtics, the Raptors in their current state and in their current mentality will never beat those teams. Never. In a playoff setting. Because fundamentally, those three teams are built with way more physicality in mind than how the Raptors are built. And I'm not just talking about physically. I'm talking about even mentally as well. Another question, this one from Twitter. Why does Darko think he can ever take Ingram and Scottie off the court at the same time? They immediately went on a run and Darko tried it twice. You know what? That's a good call by the chat because I would understand if you tried it and then it burned you and then you learn from it. But in the first half, the Raptors tried it without Scottie and Brandon on the floor at the same time. They lost like a 10-point lead. Then they had to bring them back in and they had to reestablish control. And then when they were leading by 13, they tried it coming out of the fourth quarter as well. I understand that you can't be playing your stars the entire game. But at the same time, you know what? Actually, I'll just tell you what the numbers, okay? This is Orlando's minutes tonight. Desmond Bane, 36 minutes, 24 seconds. Paolo Banchero, 40 minutes, 36 seconds. Wendell Carter, 34 minutes, 52 seconds. Anthony Black, their starting two guard, 39 minutes, 54 seconds. And then Jalen Suggs played the least minutes of the starters, 33-14. Raptors stars. And again, you got to compare number one to number one. So number one is Paolo Banchero. Number one for the Raptors is Scottie Barnes. Banchero played 5 more minutes than Scottie Barnes did tonight. Scottie played 35-34. Granted, some of that was foul trouble. I'm not saying that wasn't a factor, but that was the thing there. Brandon Ingram plays 35 minutes tonight, which is basically the max that he plays. That's a little bit less than the Magic starters as well. So I understand you're not going to play your players the entire game, and yes, Orlando did play the starters a little bit longer than the Raptors. The bigger thing is you got to stagger the rotations, and I understand tonight. Okay, Scottie got into foul troubles. You got to pull him a little different moments, but they have to figure it out where at least one of them's on the floor. Like this is like basic coaching stuff. It just is. Like this is stuff that like even fans could see. And honestly, you let a team get a little bit of a momentum in the fourth quarter. Now you got to bring them in, and you got to stop the run. And you don't stop the run, this game happens to you back-to-back, nights. We got a comment here: slot out, Darko out. I'm cool with Darko staying in, but I'm not cool with I'm not cool with Slot, bro. Slot, I'm sorry, you won the champions, you won the Premier League last year. You can get out of here, bro. Stop dissing the team too on the way out, and do not sell Curtis Jones for the love of God, bro. What is this, man? Jeff Fitzpatrick says whether the other team catches fire or not doesn't change the fact that this was a bad process that has again exposed the flaw of the roster. Can't count on your opponents missing open threes. I mean, tonight, I don't even think it was counting your opponents to miss open threes. Raptors were just all out of sorts. They started freestyling on defense, random double teams. It just looked off. They weren't on the same page tonight, and they paid for it very, very dearly and got embarrassed. They should. I think the bigger issue is the Raptors can't hit threes no matter what. Like, no matter what, man. A center and a shooter is what makes us talking about playoff wins with this roster needs to be shaken. I think everyone's identified that they need a center. Obviously, playing without Yak. Even CMB tonight had good moments, had exciting plays, 12 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, a block, 5 fouls. That's about, 5 turnovers, which is very high for him. But that's probably as good as I could expect a rookie to play, especially on the road against a playoff team like Orlando. But, I mean, at the same time, if you're talking about on the other end, Wendell Carter goes for 23-7 and 3 assists, and he's knocking down threes. It's like, you're at a mismatch. You are. Yak would have been big for this. Any center would have been big for this. Especially in the moments where Mamu has to rotate at the basket against Paolo Banchero. That's not going to get a stop. That's probably going to be a foul or a layup or an and one, which it was a lot of times. And by the way, for people lusting over Goga Batadze, the Magic said we don't even want to play him. That's a DMP on the bench. You're desperate for my DMP? Okay. But that would be an upgrade, to be clear. But you know what I mean? Teams have depth on this front, man. Raptors are really the most consistently inconsistent team in all of basketball. I guess. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know about that. Houston's pretty inconsistent, actually. Especially for a really good team, they're pretty consistently inconsistent. They have a lot of organization problems as well in terms of just organizing their team and playing through the right guys all the time. Grabo sends in, Raptors haven't been organized on offense for 5 years. It went from Fred freestyle possessions to Raptors freestyle possessions. It's been 5 years of ball screens and depending on transition hoops. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I don't really agree with this comment. The Raptors have a nice little free flowing sequences. They had that nice sequence tonight where IQ ran the screen with Scottie, and then went the other way and found RJ. RJ drove, dumped it off to CMB. CMB made a big-to-big pass to Scottie. Then Scottie passed it out to BI for the 3. They had nice passing sequences. I just don't feel like they have that level of experience and trust to do that in the most important moments. Because what I don't see is those type of sequences in the fourth quarter to stop runs. And that's disappointing to me. It really is. I also think that, look, man, we've been trying to build around Scottie for this. This is one of his weaknesses. He got to be a takeover offensive player. And maybe he just doesn't have that gear, but it's very hard to not have that type of player. Brandon gives you that to some degree, but you could tell sometimes he's, either overfed or underfed. You know what I mean? They're still trying to find out the right rhythm and cadence for how to use Brandon in that role. But the one constant has been Scott. And he's just not a takeover offensive guy. And that is hard. That is hard to actually really, consistently play through that. Because I think one of the easy things in terms of easy to play off of guy is what he's going to do. and you know that they're going to be determined and they're going to try to do it every single time. Like, honestly, it might be even a little bit easier playing off of RJ in these scenarios on the simple fact that you know what RJ is looking to do most times. And even if he's not shooting well, he's still going to be stubborn and try to do it, right? That probably makes you less efficient because you're battling uphill all the time. But I know what direction you're going. But this, like, in, out for Scott, like, you know, I think they've tried two different coaches with this too, man. Like, I think that's another growth area for him. It really does. We can't always be blaming the coach or the star or the point guard for never involving Scottie. Sometimes I want Scottie to go demand it and get it. Another question here: when the game slows down in the playoffs and there isn't much transition opportunity, this team will be in big trouble. Yep, I agree, and that's where this team has got to grow. This team's just got to grow. Why didn't the coach play Battle? I just don't get it. I mean, come on, dog. This wasn't. I mean, I don't know Battle. What would Battle have done in this game? I don't think it was a game for Battle. We got $5 from Marco. I appreciate you. Thank you. Didn't even send in a comment. Just send in some cash. We also got $5 from Hashim. RJ's so good in transition, but his game looks a little bit out of place in the half court. I do agree with you because it looks like he's like taking up more dribbles than the average player, and that's definitely there. However, I would say that him coming off the injury, like, he just doesn't look healthy. I don't really want to fully judge him on this. They still need his offense. Like, he had 16 points tonight, 6 of 14 shooting, 4 or 5 from the foul line. The main thing is he hasn't been able to hit threes since coming back. 5 from 3 tonight. But as like a secondary creator, it's not terrible. But yeah, I don't know. He doesn't look 100% healthy. That's my bigger concern. We got another 5 here from Yusuf. Let's be honest. You can't tell me you want to be Defensive Player of the Year and your team concedes 36 points and then 44 points in the last 2 quarters. No excuses. We need shooting and a center. Come on, Bobby. I think they really needed to find a way to they needed Scottie to really shut down Banchero tonight. And to a certain degree, they limited Banchero's touches. Although Banchero did get the better of Scottie on a couple plays, getting downhill, especially drawing fouls. But I think what they really needed was more help defense around that. Honestly, I think if they could do this game over again, I would rather have CMB covering Paolo and Scottie and Wendell Carter so that Scottie could play more help defense. Because the best moments on defense from Scottie tonight was rotating over for blocks. It felt like at times he was even hunting for blocks as well, but certainly got a lot of those. And even in the matchups, I thought CMB did a really great job absorbing the physicality from Paolo, especially on those switches. Because they definitely switched a lot of those pick and rolls too with Paolo and Wendell. They switched them a lot so that CMB was on him and Scottie was on Wendell. I kind of like that as the original matchup, to be honest. And then, yeah, this team needs a center. I mean, we've said this a lot over the years. We got Kilo sending in $7. What we need is some leadership from Scottie and Brandon. They need to speak up and set everyone straight. Take ownership and fix the problems. Exactly. That's exactly what I want to know. Is that guys are in the locker room, having a real conversation about this, not just resting on their laurels, not just like trying to avoid the finger pointing and all that kind of stuff. Like, actually confront the problem head on. I promise it's going to be okay. You play in Toronto. No one's going to get more heat than the Leafs. And honestly, right now, the Jays got everyone's attention. Most people are happy with the Raptors already, right? Come out and actually address it. Come out and address it, to yourselves first, and then talk about it publicly if you need to, through the media, towards the fans, because this is the year where the Raptors are trying to be good. Like, own that, and take accountability of the things that aren't working. We got $2. What are we going to do with IQ? I don't know. I mean, I think that we're just... It sucks to have to ride this out because when IQ plays well, the Raptors usually win. And then when they lose, everyone points to IQ for the reason they lost. I don't think IQ played well tonight at all. Out of all the 10 starters on the floor for both teams, you're probably the 10th guy. Like, that's not ideal. He's got to find a level of consistency. And I really don't know how they'll find it, to be honest. Because... It's been very difficult for the entire team to pull that off. We also got $7. This one from Bubble. Do you think that they should have closed with Shed instead of CMB? I feel like he could have guarded Bane. I'm not gonna lie to you. There were a lot of moments where Bane got open, and that was Shed's man. And then I saw Shed just pointing fingers at guys and yelling at them. I think, look, we all know that he's like a really attentive and he cares a lot and he really wants to play defense. But I don't know. I don't think he did a good job in this game at all. I think it was a minus for the most part in this game. And it feels like a crutch to have to close a lot of games with Jamal, to be honest. If you know, like, it doesn't feel like it should work, and the Raptors have made it work a lot this season, and that's a credit to Jamal. That's a credit to the team. I know they just beat the Thunder, for example, with Jamal closing. So you might say, why are you being fickle? I just feel like ultimately I need my experienced players to play well as a group. Yes, it's great that Jamal can step in there once in a while and do a job for you, but what about all the starters here that you paid 20 to 30 or 20 to 40 millions for, right? Like, those are the guys that need to do it. And it bothers me that those guys can't really have figured it out. I don't think closing small would have been, well, the issue is they didn't really want to switch either. Especially those ball screens involving Bankero. They didn't want to put Scottie on the perimeter and then put a small guy in the post, and then they had to scramble out of those. But maybe they should have. I don't know. Because the way they, like, I mean, a lot of it was just miscommunication, but the way they got undone by the ball screens, that was the main way Orlando was able to score in the fourth quarter. Man. Yosef's question, Will, thank you for being passionate without making personal attacks on players or coaches. Yeah, I appreciate that, Yosef, but like, I don't know. There's not like a real agenda. My agenda is really just like I want the team to perform well, and I want them to take it seriously. And I you know, personally, I don't like when people like avoid problems and try to talk around things like that. That bothers me more than anything else. Like, if you got an issue, own it, identify it, own it. That's it, right? Yeah, I don't know. I was pretty frustrated at this one. I'm not gonna lie to you. But no, I'm not. I don't have any personal agendas with any player on and coach on the team. Like, I just want them to do well. We're forcing the idea of IQ. That position isn't earned. I mean, the hard thing, and this is a hard thing for Darko, is like like putting aside the contracts and all the other stuff. IQ is like a sometimes player, and you have to bet on when it actually hits. You know, like, we've seen lots of instances when IQ plays well and how that it lifts the team, but you have to give him that chance to even see if he can play well. And yeah, I don't know. We want more consistency out of him. We just haven't gotten it yet. And I know he gets sensitive about that, but that's just the truth. Someone said, I'm definitely not saying fire Darko, but I definitely think he's on the hot seat. I mean, he's not on the hot seat, man. He just isn't. I think overall, everyone realizes that he's done a good job with the group. The group loves him. He's, you know, yeah, he's... I want him to do better and improve with the group and grow with the group. But no, I even for me, who I've been skeptical for Darko, you know, for different reasons, I don't even think that's the right decision, man. I think he's earned a chance to, you know, keep growing with this group. When you shoot threes at 25%, any plans you have goes out the window. Well, I guess, but I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. The Raptors didn't lose tonight because of the 3-point shooting. The Raptors lost tonight because they couldn't figure out their defense and stop the bleeding, especially in the fourth quarter. Prediction for the next 5 home games. Teams don't seem that tough, but I hope that doesn't change for Bobby. He needs to see the glaring holes on this team. I don't think Bobby, again, he's not going to be reacting to like 1 or 2 games here. He's going to look at the bigger picture. What are the strengths of the roster? And, you know, how are you going to be able to find cost-effective and also maybe opportunistic moves to try to do it? Raptors are not going to go big game hunting in that sense. If they do, it's going to be Sabonis, which, as far as big names go, is a pretty small name. Otherwise, they're going to find a way to duck the luxury tax and bring in an extra big. Part of the thing is, I think the Mo Bamba experience was a bit informative, because they brought in Bamba, and Darko just straight up didn't want to play him, so they cut him. It was like, what's the point of having Bamba? You don't want to play him. I do wonder, especially considering how much the Raptors have had success with small ball, how much they're going to keep talking themselves into playing small ball. I think it's a fine look as like as a change-up option, but it can't be your only look. They need to have some real size in there as well. Some real, I mean, especially in the Eastern Conference. Again, like you go in the East playoffs, everyone got a physical front line, man. You can't be going in there with Scottie and CB. They're going to be in foul trouble like they were tonight. It's not enough. You need to give them a real chance. Someone said, no, our issue is our franchise player looks to pass first. You can't build a championship team with your best player as a passive dude. I think there's, you know what? I want to be fair to this comment because I think that I don't think they're saying that like you could say, well, you know, Magic Johnson, like Jokic, you know, LeBron at points were passed first. Like obviously those guys have won lots of championships. I'm not saying that you can't but like I think the pass first thing is like, okay, you get into the defense, you break it out, you like draw extra attention, and then you make the pass, or you know what I mean. Like no one's against that type of playmaker. Like everyone likes that type of playmaker, right? But what you will never see from the Nuggets is Jokic not having the ball for like even 3 plays in a row, right? He's going to get it every single time down. And if they're denying him in some specific way, they're going to find a counter. And if they're really denying him, and no matter what, he'll bring the ball up and he'll be in the screens and he'll just constantly, and he'll demand it. Like he'll come above the 3-point line and touch the ball and go from there. And of course he's not as like skilled of a scorer. Like, you know, that's not even in the same conversation, but like, I think for Scottie, like you gotta own up to that. Like it can't just be that like, I mean, seriously, like at a certain point, forget Darko, forget like RJ, IQ, whatever. This is your team. Everyone said it to you in how many different ways, right? Like, you know what? It's you're the man of the house. Like, if we lost with Scottie touching the ball like 20 times down the stretch and he couldn't get it done, we'll live with it because that's how this team is made. Same thing with Brandon. But it bothered me that neither of those guys got it that much down the stretch. And that's just on offense, because on defense, they had way bigger issues. How have we not developed a single 3-point shooter in 5 years? I mean, I think, in all fairness to the 3-point shooters, because a lot of guys are like catch-and-shoot guys, and, you know, the biggest thing for a catch-and-shoot guy is, can somebody break down the defense and effectively make a pass to you? Raptors don't break down the defense that much. You know, and that's a little bit on the point guard, a little bit not having a center, a little bit on Brandon, mostly shooting, a little bit on Scottie, not attacking enough. But a lot of times we don't even generate good looks by breaking the shell of the defense and kicking out. Having said that, though, guys also got to be responsible for their own shots. They couldn't make them. But I mean, like imagine you're Scottie, you're Grady Dick, okay? Just put yourself in the shoes of Grady Dick. You go on the road trip, play your ass off. You know, was a big factor in all 4 of their wins. You know, you had a stretch where you were scoring double digits every single game. You were out in transition. You were knocking down the corner threes. You're hustling. You know, your teammates are celebrating you. All that's good. Last 2 games, you barely get on the court. Tonight, you get on the court. Okay, yeah, you didn't really get open much, but, you know, he's not a guy who's going to create his own shot. You take one shot, you miss it. Okay, like literally that happens, and then you don't even come in for the next second half. Like, what are you supposed to build off of that? Seriously, like you literally put in a position to fail, you know. And then Jacoby on the flip side does a great job of cutting, moving. Certain matchups are going to favor Jacoby. Jacoby played well against Orlando last year. He obviously hit the game winner here last year. Makes a bunch of cuts, you know, knocks down his corner 3 when he got his one chance, and then he's not in the game late either, right? The fact that you have Jacoby played 16, Grady played 7, so you have 23 minutes of shooting guard minutes coming off the bench, and those guys, especially because they need guys to create for them, only got 2 3-point attempts up. That says something more about the creators than it does about the shot makers on a night like this. This team reminds me of that 2014-2015 Raptors where they had a solid record but had zero confidence in come playoff times. Yeah, I hear you. That season was weird because they got off to such a hot start. Like they were the number 1 seed in the East for a while. Lou Williams was like hitting every end of quarter buzzer beater and drawing fouls on 3-point pull-ups. And then once DeMar went down, like Kyle Lowry went like Super Saiyan for a while, but then it burned out Kyle and he got injured. And then once Kyle got injured and he wasn't right, even with DeMar back, they never got back in rhythm. They were basically like a 500 team for like the last like 3 months. They were a little bit banged up too going into the Wizards series, and then they got swept. Crazy time, man. One of the worst seasons, honestly. Hashim also sends in $2. IQ's 3-point attempts are down too. Any reason? Well, I think it's also for IQ is hard because he always feel like it feels like he needs to like sneak in a shot here or there. Doesn't really feel like they're consistently getting him shots. And part of the thing with not having a center, but even him playing pick and roll, I don't know. He didn't really get them to drop. I mean, it's not like he's not happy to take shots. I mean, there was a play where he got an open three, he missed it. The rebound, was to CMB, he kicked it back out, and from the same spot, IQ shot the three right once again, missed it unfortunately once again, but 2 good shots. Like he's not hesitant to shoot the three. It's just like I don't know. The offense hasn't really gave him that many chances to shoot the three, especially with like physical screens where you're getting that separation. Question here. Flag had 49 points on like 30 shot attempts. Can they experiment and let BI chuck up 40 shots? I just don't think that like that would fundamentally fit at all what Darko, his coaching style is, because it's all about share the ball, move the rock, make extra passes, go, strong side to weak side. And that's just how they always operate. And that's just how they always play, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's like not, I don't know. I guess nothing's stopping them from just like clearing out and doing a 1-4 flat for Brandon every single time, but that's just not what they do. It's like against their identity, I don't know. Would be nice though. I'd be curious. I mean, Brandon will be my number 1 pick for next Raptor to potentially threaten for the all-time record for most points, because I feel like Brandon, if you gave him 40 shots, he'd give you 50 points easily. Okay, let's take a quick break, and we'll probably wrap out with a couple more questions. But first, I want to bring you this message, and especially on a night like this, basketball can be stressful. That fourth quarter can be stressful, and Coors is a chill choice. Staying chill is the winning play. I gotta remember that because I was having a nice afternoon before this. Did a banter pod. Certainly was a very funny episode. Lots of laughs were had. If you're looking for something to burn some time this weekend, why not spend a couple hours with the boys? Certainly we were, just laughing, having a good time. After the banter pod, decided to hit the sauna. Was in the the steam room. Was in the cold tub, going back and forth, drinking some tea, relaxing, having a nice little dinner. And I'm like, all right, I'm chill. I'm feeling good. Smelling good. Everything was chill. I'm gonna watch Raptors. Magic. And you know what? I know better, because I should have seen that this game was going to be a bit frustrating and this game was going to be a bit tight. And making the chill choice would have been putting the Coors Light in the fridge and then pulling it out in the fourth quarter when the Raptors were down 44-21 in that fourth quarter, and just having a nice little Coors to take the edge off, because wow, this was an edgy game. Anyway, when the game heats up, why not make the chill choice by grabbing a crisp, refreshing Coors Light? Find Coors Light near you. Visit CoorsLightShop.ca. Celebrate responsibly, and you must be of legal drinking age. Okay, I feel like I've taken a ton of questions, so no wonder why Will was sweating buckets all pod. Yeah, I've certainly done a lot of sweating today, I'll tell you that much, but yeah, let's just hand out the 3 stars and get out of here. I was low-key kind of hoping for the Raptors to post their full media availability so that we can hear from Darko post-game, but as of right now, all we have is Brandon Ingram's post-game, and that was posted 19 minutes ago. Typically, they post them all at once, so more than anything else, I just want to hear Darko's post-game. I mean, yes, it'd be cool to hear from Brandon. Brandon's actually quite eloquent, and I like the way Brandon, thinks and breaks things down, but all due respect, I really wanted to hear from the coach, and I was hoping to buy a little bit of time. Oh, this is January Banter Pod. But unfortunately we run out of it, and I don't really want to belabor this point too much. So let's just wrap out 3 stars from the game. I mean, first star is going to go to Brandon. 35 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, 13 of 23 shooting, 4 of 8 from 3, 5 of 7 from the foul line. He could have probably played a little bit better defense, especially in the start of the game. Guys are getting free against him, but his ability to get a bucket is truly impressive. And Orlando played him mostly single coverage. This is the result. He did more than enough to win. I wish he shot more times than just 23. Scottie Barnes is your second star. 19 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 blocks. Certainly had a big stretch there in the third quarter where he sparked the runs and got the Raptors ahead. At one point, he was plus 24 in the game. He ends up as only plus 6 because of the fourth quarter. But, yeah, I mean, again, I needed to see more leadership from him in the difficult moments, but at least in the course of the game, I thought he played well. And then Jacoby Walter, come off the bench, comes you 13 points, 5 of 6 shooting. Did a decent job. Gerald Henderson Award for who randomly torched the Raps. Honestly, it's basically like everyone you would expect. But I think on the whole, I mean, Anthony Black going to the foul line and shooting 14 of 14 is absurd. I mean, that's ridiculous. I didn't even recognize that he shot the free throws 14 times. But I think I'll go with Wendell Carter. Ultimately, he was kind of the X factor for them. I don't expect Wendell Carter to have 23 points on efficient shooting like that. So, yeah, credit to the Magic. I mean, honestly, like, I want to slander the Magic sometimes, and I think I have done slander pods against the Magic, but ultimately, like, they played really well tonight, and I was really surprised that they had this level to hit. It was very impressive to see. So, thanks everyone for listening. Again, try to enjoy your weekend. Well, not try. I mean, definitely go enjoy your weekend. I mean, forget, this is just a Raptors game, but yeah, if you want a better vibe, of course, the Banter Pod is there for you. Banter Pod was very, very funny this week. Definitely check that out. Otherwise, Raptors will play again on Sunday. I'll be back on Sunday. And of course, any trade rumors, any trade that happens, if anything happens, we will be going and giving you instant reaction to everything that comes up. So try to put this game out of your head a little bit and then tune back in for the next one. See ya.